Hey, Chicago, what do you say? It's the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by PointsBet. Use the promo code CHGO when you sign up to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. I'm Luke Stuckmeyer. That is at Luke Stuckmeyer on Twitter. Ryan Herrera in the house until the ball games start. For a few more days, right?
We got another week.
Ryan _A_ Herrera on Twitter. Our guest today, Ron Luce, in the building. He is at Luce on Tap, and Cody Delmendo is Cody _CHGO.
Well said, Luke.
A company man.
I just realized Ron and I, all we do is change out the C to a K, and it's Luke on Tap. So I could start like a competitive, thing.
Are you trying to jump ship?
I'm just saying.
Trying to jump ship right now.
Yeah.
I wanted to confuse people. We could really get going. So, Ron, you're from the On Tap Sports Network. That's
Correct.
where you know Cody from.
Yes.
You do a Cubs podcast there. Mm-hmm. Cody was part of that. Tell us about yourself. First of all, how did that get started up for you?
Yeah, so I finished grad school and was looking for a hobby something to do, because now I didn't have to do 3 hours of homework after working a full-time job and things like that. And met a handful of guys online, Tony Marchese, Johnny Nani, Buzz, who was just in the studio here a couple weeks ago. And April 2019, all of a sudden, On Tap Sportsnet was born, and now it's this big, we're approaching 3-year anniversary. April 15th is officially 3 years. And
Jackie Robinson Day.
yeah, so we're chugging along. So yeah, it was literally just I'm looking to fill time, and it became a full-blown dedicated passion. And we got to bring Cody on right around beginning of 2020, and Cubs on Tap took off as a big part of it. So now Cody and I are buddies, and I mean, we've crushed a couple beers in the bleachers together and whatnot. And probably will continue said tradition, but
Ron's a close friend of mine, man. I would not be in this seat without him.
Well said.
Nice.
That's a compliment.
Yeah,
you don't get too many of these on the show.
What can you tell us? What's Cody's worst characteristic? What do you really not like about him?
Not that I don't like it about him, but if we
now
can.
that he said something nice about you, what don't you like about the guy?
I honestly think the only thing I could say is I love watching on the show now where that you have those. I know Cody has those moments where he has so many words that he wants to get out and he wants to ramble and he can't, and I know it drives him nuts because there's been some epic just classic rants of just Cody going on for. It might be like if you sat there and timed him on a watch,
10 minutes,
10, 12.
So it's something we need to watch
minutes.
for. We need to watch
for.
Just
all you need is the first game for the Cardinals to come around, and you have to just tell them to mute the word Yadier or the phrase Yadier.
I have to bleep it out.
It's got to be like what you guys did with the shift the one day.
Yeah, right.
And bleeping that out. Same idea.
Same idea.
There we go.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
So when you start up this On Tap Sports Network, do you ever think it's going to grow, or is it just literally starting as a hobby?
Well, initially it was just a hobby, and actually now, I mean, we've grown to a point where we've had interest from companies to work with them, and we've had some pretty significant guests. I mean, Cody, you were part of it. We had Justin Steele on the show a couple weeks back for Cubs on Tap, and now it's with that kind of anticipation of like, hey, let's keep growing this thing. Let's make this into something that can be a full-time day job, just like CHGO. And so yeah, that's where we're at. But it really did just start out as like I'm just looking for something to do, to now is like there's some weeks where it's 40 to 50 hours, outside of the day job where you're just cranking on, whether it's an article or whether it's, behind the scenes stuff and different things like that. But yeah, it's 3 years strong. And so we're going to celebrate pretty hard, I think, this year to celebrate 3 years of successful growth as an organization and as an actual legitimate company, because we are actually a legitimate company.
April 15th, Jackie Robinson Day and On
Tax
Tap
Day.
anniversary. Like it's two big titans of industry. Right
and then tax day. Just
I
to
didn't even think
sing it back down.
That reminds me.
I actually still have to do 5.
I have
Uncle
nothing
Sam.
done, and it's 2. I told Cody, he's like, what are you doing this weekend? I'm like, taxes.
Yep.
No,
That's
no,
me.
we got done.
That's me.
Nothing.
No.
Nothing. Got none
That'll
of that
be me
done.
this weekend.
So you said before we came on, you were talking about opening day. Are you going to opening day this year?
I am. I'm going to games 1 and 2.
This would have been opening day, right?
Yeah.
On the road.
Would have
And
been.
it was typical that I woke up and I saw rain hitting the window, but also snowflakes out in the in the street. And I thought, what is? Oh, it's opening day. That makes sense. That this would have been the weather for it.
Oh, absolutely. Well, and it's funny too because I actually had this conversation with you back in February I was like, hey, Cubs are on the road to go see the Reds. I want to be in attendance for Stroman's first start. You want to go with? And that was an actual conversation that was had. So it actually kind of worked out now that they've backed it up because they actually get to obviously start at home now and have opening day at home. And Thursday, Friday's hard to beat. I mean, any close to the weekend 120 start is just next level. I mean, granted, you and I were talking about it, Luke, beforehand. It's going to be freezing cold probably, but no, very, very excited for it. So be there to hopefully, ideally see Kyle on opening day and see Stro then on day number 2.
Awesome. Where do you pregame?
I'm a big Murphy's guy. I also like the Sports Corner, though. It's a nice little place right there.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
That rooftop in the summertime is next level.
Yeah, and you get a little shade there sometimes too on a really hot day. If the sun's coming in on an angle, you can at least find a spot that's not like melting you.
Yeah, you're not gonna be
right, which is important.
As red as that cup on the desk over there by the time the game starts.
You go from the inside of the cup to the outside of the solo cup,
right?
Which is never good.
The evolution.
How'd you become a Cubs fan?
Both of my parents were diehards, so it kind of was just like born into it. My mom was a nights and weekends season ticket holder for a long time, and she was a huge Mark Grace lover. So she had first baseline tickets at the time. We have baseballs in our basement. Joe Girardi, Sandberg. I mean, all those guys that played late '80s, early '90s, and my dad was the same way. Grew up in well, at least his dad grew up in the North Side, so that was always that influence as well. And so yeah, just born and bred and. Yep. Have continued that way ever since, even though I think every single one of my friends outside of maybe I can count on both of my hands are White Sox fans just from,
I was going to say, like,
from living on the South Side.
I was going to say, you live on the South Side, and at On Tap, when I was there, this narrative, and even though I'm not there anymore, like, at least on social media, I'm going to be like, we got to change the narrative.
Yes.
Because there's this narrative that Ron is a closet White Sox fan, and all his Sox friends call him Southside Ron.
Southside Ron.
And
it's a very real thing.
Before getting this job, I was like, Ron, we have to, like, I can't do this podcast with you anymore if you're going to still be called Southside Ron. And I can't defend any time you go to a Sox game and you wear a White Sox shirt or whatever. So we have to change this up. And so I started just tweeting Northside Ron every time.
Northside Ron.
Every time I would add him or something like that. But, you know.
The Marcus Stroman signing definitely helped kill that narrative if anybody was worried about it. Because that's just my guy. And I was like, I was so excited. Everybody's like, oh, well, we thought you were Southside Ron. I was like, no. I wouldn't be this excited if I was Southside Ron.
Is that a Stroman jersey on your back right now?
It is a Stroman jersey, yeah.
Stroman actually retweeted or quote tweeted you, like whenever he first signed or whatever.
Yeah, big. I'm a big Stro guy. I've got his Blue Jays jersey at home. I've got a couple other things I've been following pretty much since his rookie year. I remember when he still wore 54 with the Blue Jays his first time up, and followed him ever since, and was super excited he came to the Cubs. It's
random, right?
Yeah, and it's that scenario where like you follow a guy for so long and he's your favorite player, but like not on your favorite team, and then they come to your favorite team, and you're like, well, it's a match made in heaven.
Well, how did you pick him as your favorite player? What about his game do you enjoy, or is it just you like that he wore 0? Because that's what happens sometimes.
That is what happens
sometimes.
I think the biggest thing for me, because I played. Everybody okay over there?
Sox pod, keep it down over there.
What happened? Who's down?
I think Herrera's down.
Jake.
We're good.
Jake is okay.
Good.
You know what happened? You can't see this off camera, but we have some chairs that were assembled, one by Joey, our producer is over there, and I believe some screws were not put in correctly.
That was not.
Oh, that was Ryan's chair.
I am not a chance.
I almost broke my neck on that chair,
not
too.
Not a chance.
Oh,
I sat down on every one that I put together, and they were perfect.
There's some...
And let's let Ron finish.
I'm sorry to interrupt. It's the engineering in the building.
It's fair. We wanted to make sure nobody got hurt. Or
so how did you get it on Stroman?
I think for me it was a big because I was an offensive lineman in college. I played college football at St. Xavier down on the south side, little NAIA school, and I was always undersized. I'm not even 6 foot, and you think of offensive line, big 6'4" brutes, and I was tiny, and but I was able to play, and so I think with him and his height and his HDMH brand and just kind of his attitude and being kind of more outspoken and kind of loud because I'm I'm very loud as just a person, and it just kind of identified. And just started following him, and then have been a diehard fan ever since. So.
That's cool. That's cool. So and now he's on your favorite team. How long did it take you to get that jersey?
A lot longer than I wanted to. It actually ended up becoming a Christmas present to myself because we just chaos of life at home. You know, we really didn't do any gift exchange or different things like that. But so I was just like, yeah, you know, it was like right before New Year's Eve, and I was like, yeah, it's time, and just ordered it, and Clark Street Sports came through in the clutch. It was on the doorstep the next day, so I was like, all right, cool, can't beat that. Can't beat that kind of customer service. So,
you know, we call that, Cody, dope merch.
Dope merch.
That's
what we call it here.
Hashtag dope merch.
Hashtag that shit should be going out to people's mailboxes like ASAP now.
Yeah, because it
getting
just
out
came
there.
in 24 cases of shirts. I would assume we're getting ours pretty soon.
I can't wait.
are you guys all gonna wear them the same day?
We probably should.
No cap. Yes. No cap.
I kind of hope so. I think
want
that
to.
would
I
be
would love
absolutely fantastic.
Look like a Best Buy uniform, like everybody's wearing the same thing.
I love that.
So you're doing On Tap Sports Network, but you're a busy guy because you also have a full-time job, right? And you're also doing St. Xavier Sports, like play-by-play stuff still?
Yep, I do play-by-play and color commentary.
Okay,
there,
so
yeah.
what sports do you do, and how do you manage that with a full-time job and an On Tap Sports Network?
Sleep isn't a real thing, but no, I just it's convenient. It's for me. It's local. I'm still out in that direction, but yeah, I've done play-by-play for football, men's and women's volleyball, men's and women's soccer. What else? There's one more that and men's and women's basketball. And then I do color commentary on the football broadcast typically, unless for some reason one of the play-by-play guys can't come, and then I'm lone man on the show, which happened once last year. But yeah, normally I get to be the kind of the joke cracker, and I try.
Good.
My goal is always to make the play-by-play guy break and laugh on the show, always. And if it doesn't happen, I'm very disappointed. But yeah, so very, very busy. It keeps me going, and I'm always one of those people where if I don't have enough things going on and I get too bored, I almost like lose focus on just everything else in life, and then I really feel all over the place. So for me, it's like I purposely keep myself busy to like kind of stay in line and like be on a structured schedule. Cody knows. I mean, we'd be doing a show at 11:30 at night, and then he'd be like, oh yeah, so like I'm gonna hit the hay. I'm like, all right, well I got like 2 more hours of work I got to go do, so I'll talk to you after. He's like, why are you doing that? I'm like, oh, just keep going.
It's the grind.
It's good. Yeah, it's fun.
Grind.
It's
That's
fun.
what this industry is. Yep.
Exactly. And it's one of those things where like you do it long enough and you grind those hours out, and eventually maybe it'll pay off, and you won't know unless you try, right? So it's like
That's a great attitude for sure.
Definitely.
I will say though, it seems like baseball and the Cubs would be an odd fit for you because you're cranking 24/7. Your RPMs are all the way forward, and it's a slow game. Like it's, there's a pace to baseball that you have to. It's like watching golf. You gotta get into it. It's there's a pace. How is baseball your favorite sport?
Baseball is like 2A.
2A,
I guess, to describe. So football is always my first love. Football was always
Most
the
of
first
America
sport.
has become
yeah.
football.
That was the sport I always wanted to play. That was the easy one. I became a really big hockey fan in 2007 when the Hawks were finally put back on TV, and not like completely. It was the first year after Papa Wirtz had passed, and they were like sparingly on WGN. My dad and my brother were always like, "Oh, sit down and watch with us," and then eventually I just became a diehard there. But I mean, Cubs has always been there. I mean, my first Cubs game was 2004. I remember the Cubs played the Dodgers. I was like 9 years old. Corey Patterson hit a home run that day, and my uncle missed it because he was taking me to the bathroom. And I remember he was very upset about that. So,
in 2004, that trip to the bathroom could take 2 or 3 hours. So,
it
trough could be full at that point.
Yeah, it was bad. But so yeah, I mean, even though it's not my favorite sport, it's just I at least, and maybe this is just as I've grown as a sports fan, I think a lot of people can identify this. You grow to appreciate the sport for what it is, and you find kind of the true what makes it impressive, right? Like, I mean, I've done the wind up and throw and see how hard you can throw. I can't even crack 70. And these guys are hitting 100. Like that's impressive, And then same thing with I've tried to swing. Everybody goes to the batting cages and thinks you can hit the
you go to
the
sluggers,
real, and you're like, give me the hard one. I got this, and you're swinging through everything, and you don't even have a prayer. And even if you do get contact, it's a foul tip, and it goes 25 feet. So it's like, watching, like yesterday, watching Seiya Suzuki, who doesn't, you could tell he didn't even get that ball cleanly and still is able to muscle it out of the yard. It's so impressive. So I think that's the beauty of baseball. I mean, it kind of is a counter to your point there, Luke, of like, I am constantly go, but it's kind of the like settle down and just chill and appreciate it for what it is.
Yeah.
Do you guys still go to batting cages? I'm going to tell you, I've been out on that for 4 decades, I think.
Last batting cage I was at Sluggers. So.
Yeah, last time I did it,
So. But I won't go in. I had a little league coach who was taking us to batting cage, and he got smoked in the eye by like the high 90s. Oh, jeez. The whole socket was like crushed and all that stuff. And I was like, I think I'm good with the batting cages forever.
Yeah,
forever. I don't blame you there, Luke.
Right?
Especially when you witness something like that. Like,
I'm good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm all right.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, I couldn't even tell you the last time I've been in a batting cage. I do like to go and watch all the people that think they can hit them, though,
right?
like sluggers like that.
Especially
that might be more entertaining than actually
6
getting
or
in
7
the cage.
Budweisers in.
Yeah.
Just standing at the plate is dangerous.
Yeah.
At that point,
when they're doing the waddle and it's not a part of their batting stance.
it's supposed to be the Rizzo dry hump.
Right.
Instead, it's just they're wobbling at the plate back and forth.
Yeah, it's the Brad. I can't stand up straight. Just tipsy.
I wonder what Cubs going to have the best stance. Rizzo's it became infamous. That he was kind of like rocking back and forth. Who's it going to be now?
I'm trying to think of who I've seen.
I kind of like Clint Frazier's.
Clint,
with
like
the
a
foot
little
thing. And
I like Clint's.
Yeah.
What about the homer yesterday from Frazier?
Yeah. We talked.
We said that high ceiling. He's the high ceiling guy out of that group.
Yeah.
And if he can, that's what they're looking for. They're looking to find that guy. I don't know that any of those guys would. I was trying to think of, okay, who out of this group of players would you compare to the Cubs getting the Arrieta Strop deal? That obviously is never going to be repeated in Cubs history. No. But like Arrieta was a reclamation project. He was a highly thought of pitcher in Baltimore's organization, and then hard times. Cubs turned him around.
Yeah.
I don't think they'll ever do that again, but who would be that guy? And on this group of players, Frazier would have the best chance at having that high ceiling.
Yeah, because Clint, and like we've talked about it multiple times on that show, he's like a former top 5 draft pick. Right. Like he has, again, we're going to use the word, the pedigree of a player that should be, an all-star player, a great player in the game, and injuries and stuff have just kind of held him back. And if he, with that article that came out, like he says he's feeling good, he's feeling better. Obviously, the more concussions you get, the easier it is for that stuff to affect you longer in life, and the easier it is to get them. But if he's feeling good and can stay healthy, like there's very real chance that, especially on a 1-year, $1.5 million contract with team control, like it's that's a very good chance.
Frazier, you can honestly look at it similarly to Arrieta. When Arrieta started, performing with the Cubs, and everyone's asking like, what was old Baltimore thinking? And he talked about how the Cubs just let him be him, and Clint Frazier talks about how the Yankees didn't let him be him. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like, in a way similar. He had a Arrieta top prospect in the Orioles organization. So is Frazier for the Yankees. Like, I don't see it being far off. I don't know if Frazier's going to go on to win a MVP, but
right,
I think he can be
have one of the best pitching stretches or
right.
hitting stretches.
But as far as like the story, or like what could potentially be his story for the Cubs of finally taking that next step in his career to be a everyday player, I feel like if we see what we have seen in spring training, like the Cubs are going to look at him and be like, all right, he's part of the next Cubs team. And that's cool.
I think with him too, right, you can kind of identify it to Arrieta, because if I remember correctly, there was reports that Baltimore told him not to throw his cutter, and that was his best pitch. And the Cubs were like, no, just do whatever you want. We're not even going to bother. Because Bosio was a funky delivery guy too. He's like, you just throw the way you want to throw. Throw your cutter because it's your best pitch and see what happens. And then to your point, Luke, like he went on and had one of the best stretches in pitching history. And it feels like Clint Frazier's the same way, because, he's got the bat speed. You saw it on the home run yesterday. That's a high and inside fastball. And he just takes it out of the park on a liner. And then on top of it, I think the Yankees clean-shaven, clean-cut thing is the dumbest thing in sports also. I absolutely despise it. Because it's like now everybody, like, it is really a real thing. Like, look good, feel good, play good. Like, Clint Frazier had the beard and the long red flow, and it was awesome. And then they're like, no, you got to cut all that. Ugh. It's awful. I can't wait. He's got the beard coming back in now. Like the hair's growing back. You know, by mid-June, he's gonna rock. It's gonna be a flow with a thick beard, and he's just gonna be parking balls into left field bleachers.
Well, then our guy Brendan tweeted yesterday after the Clint Frazier home run, talking about the high fastball.
Very good thread. Yes,
70 to 80% contact against like high fastballs, and you know, especially with the way pitchers are pumping fastballs, the velocity they got on there. If you got a guy that can make contact, like can see the high fastball better out of the hand and can make contact with that, like that, he just again that profile, if he could be a solid hitter, if the Cubs give him the opportunity, which at this point it looks like he's earning that opportunity to be at least get everyday at bats. If it's not everyday left field, DH, whatever it is, but everyday at bats, and you know, sky's the limit. Hopefully.
Yeah, and that outfield's just so crowded. Right? I mean, you look at it right now because
with question marks.
Very much so.
You know, there's no like surefire Hall of Famer sitting out there. You know, it's like there are so many options, and who knows who's going to be good out of that group. Yeah.
But that's kind of what makes it fun, though, because it's like there are so many what ifs just on the whole team in general, too, right? Like I think that's so unique about the Cubs because you know we were chatting over there, you know, beforehand, and you know, and Luke, you mentioned this, and I was like, yeah, you know, there's two teams in the division that clearly aren't competing. There's two that are competing. And then the Cubs are just kind of there because it's a lot of like what ifs. Like if things go well, this team can be very competitive. And if things go south, they're probably closer to the Reds than they are than the Cardinals. So it's like, you know, what Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde version of this Cubs team are we going to get in 2022?
I just know that Twitter yesterday, you could tell Cubs fans were anxious for something positive to happen. Yeah. And when Suzuki hits a homer and Frazier hits a homer, Twitter was like buzzing for like 25 minutes, like over people excited. And the Suzuki homer, for his first hit to be a home run after several strikeouts, was sort of, I think, for some people, despite the fact that it's just Cactus League, for some odd reason, a sigh of relief, right? People were, whether it's 3 strikeouts in Cactus League or not, there are Cubs fans out there who were like, oh, boy, not again. Oh, not this guy. And he hits that home run, and he does it with such flair that you're like, he's not just a guy coming over to our country to play baseball. He's got a little swagger to him. Yeah, which is kind of fun to see. I think.
Can we pull up that tweet? Joey, can we get the tweet from Corey?
Oh yeah, Corey. This is going to be the homer first. Is that what you had there?
Oh, we'll get it. But yeah, I was going to say the home run, the pose he had after. There it is.
Yeah.
We got it on there.
The just full extension.
Yeah,
I mean, that's
type,
that's like a hobby Wilson Contreras type pose after a home run,
a little
right?
pose, little flare.
Now all we need is him to do like Willie did in 2020 and just send the bat higher than the ball went.
I was just saying flip it.
Then it's perfect. It's perfect.
If he does the hobby, the
Japanese players always have the best
here.
bat flips. I always feel like
they really do.
Yeah, who was the one that they used to hit it and just like let it fly out of their hand at the top of the?
I swear I saw a video of
who was that?
Just someone from Japan doing that the other day.
I don't remember who it was. I remember there was someone that like would literally swing.
I felt like
as soon as they hit it, they just let it fly.
used to do that all the time. Anytime he hit a home run, I felt like he'd swing and he would like he had an epic
just let it fly.
Bat drop.
Today's the anniversary of his 3-run home run opening day at Wrigley.
Yeah,
that's the anniversary.
Today. 08,
it's unfortunate that's like his most memorable like thing he did as a Cub because the Cubs lost that day.
His first,
but that was like
that was people went crazy.
6 RBIs in that game, like,
and then they went racist after that. It was uncomfortable. That was an odd relationship. With
it really was. Yeah. Well, and I think too, not to go down the Fukudome just absolute rabbit hole, but like I feel like he was just a guy that at the time too, right? With those like kind of the left-handed swings coming out of Japan, like it was really hard to translate that to the MLB because of it was hard to be a slap hitter, and I think that's what benefits Seiya is he has a very complete swing. It's very compact, and I mean, just look at him. He's like I say give him 1 year in the Cubs facilities, and he's gonna look like Shohei whenever he does a press conference and is like his traps are swallowing his neck. Like that might be Seiya next year.
Well, and then he's already kind of ahead of the curve where you look at it when Ohtani this first couple years was still doing that leg kick, struggle a little bit. Seiya, his first 2 at-bats, or first at-bat, whatever it was, did the leg kick. When he hit the home run, it was just a little pivot. Like no leg kick. And it's like, if that works for him, like right away, like that's big time for the Cubs. If he's already able to get that, know that, hey, maybe this might work better for me against major league pitching. Like that could be helpful.
Yeah, no, it's again, man, it's gonna be exciting to see how he I guess, progresses through the first few months, let alone the entire season, he has the type of talent that could change the Cubs season, in my opinion. Like, I don't know if he can put a team on his back offensively, but we talk about how the Cubs don't have any power. Well, the only reason that he's a question in a way is because he just hasn't played in the MLB. But if he comes out and is productive and not only hitting homers but having a high on base, high slugging percentage, like he really could change the outlook for the Cubs if, his transition goes smoother than what we probably expect. So it's a lot to ask for, but I mean, after we talked to Cap yesterday and the former GM from the Dodgers and what he said about Suzuki, like, that's all I've been thinking about. I'm like, I'm ready to see what this guy can do. And, yeah, man, it's exciting stuff.
So if you had to pick an X factor for this season and for the future, like guys that are currently on the 40-man, is he your guy? Because I feel like we could make a list of 10 players that you could call the X factor for this team. Like, if this guy develops or if this guy plays this way, he might be the one that balances the future and this team more than any other. Frazier's on that list, obviously, so there's two. Braylon Marquez is a guy you would think about, like if he comes up and does, right? Who knows?
There's a lot of pitchers on the farm right now that you can say that.
Alzolay, if he comes back healthy, we're still waiting to see.
I think in 2022, halfway through the year, it's going to be Caleb Killian. I think that's the guy that comes up and has like a Logan Webb-esque emergence like that he had for the Giants. They've been great and like, oh, he's further along and like, and I mean, you can argue the same too about Brennan Davis too, right? Like, I mean, he right. That man found the weight room in the offseason.
I mean, MLB Pipeline has Killian, number 4 prospect in the system, and this is updated from like last week. So their ETA for him is already 2022. So he's only in Double-A, but if he starts killing it,
a great Arizona Fall League.
Right.
Everyone talks about the very last game where he basically threw. Well, not even basically. He did have like 6 perfect innings.
Yep.
That was good.
Came back in the Bryant trade.
Well, and I think
a high ceiling there.
I think at least because I remember writing about the trade when it happened, the Bryant trade. And it was like the last one of the day, too, so my brain was just numb from – it was that moment of like what happened.
Right.
Because they were all so simultaneous. And you read his numbers. When he was in high A-ball, he only made like 4 starts in high A-ball last year before they immediately promoted him. But he had a 32-to-1 K to walk ratio. Like, that's video game numbers. That's literal video game numbers. And I don't care what level you're at. That's unbelievable. So, I mean, I think, but you said it, Luke. I mean, we could probably sit here and
you could go through the whole roster,
lists,
right?
Yeah, guys are like,
go down the list.
Yeah. Suzuki is a guy that I feel like just kind of sticks out more than the rest of them. Not only because the Cubs gave him the, I guess you could say, big deal, but like just from raw talent that we've seen in Japan. Like as far as an offensive player, I feel like he has this highest ceiling outside of Frazier, who we really like. It's kind of a stretch to even say that for Frazier, but with Suzuki, like he really did like kind of dominate over in Japan, and like so the only real question for him is can he transition that to here in Major League Baseball? So that's why to me, like if he comes out and is like I said, like by the end of the year, if he's like fucks around and is a 4-WAR player or more, again, I feel like that changes the Cubs' outlook not only for this season but definitely the year after. Because
for free agents, it will too.
Yeah.
If they're torn between 2 teams and money's equal, give them the sunshine in Wrigley and a bright farm system that's coming up and another star on the team, it could factor into a decision. I was wondering if Nico and Madrigal would still be on that X Factor list, or for some reason, maybe unfairly, Madrigal hasn't even played a game yet. Like, are they still part of that high ceiling list that people are excited about? Because I feel for some reason like Nico is unfairly being taken off that list just because of some early appearances in the majors that maybe he shouldn't have made.
Yeah. I think on top of it too, you have like everybody loves potential, right? So prospects are in a in baseball.
What's all we can grab onto right now.
But everybody's looking at the Hernandezes of the world, the Howards of the world. They're so deep up the middle in the farm. I think that's part of the problem is like, because I really think Nico can be like the new age Ben Zobrist for this team in terms of just his role, not obviously the same player, but he moves around. He'll play center one day, he'll play a corner outfield the next. He can play second, he can play short. Maybe you throw him at third on a weird day. Maybe you even just DH him on a day just to give him a blow. I think Madrigal. I think part of the thing that scares people about Madrigal is these Cubs teams have had guys that can play multiple positions. Versatility has been such a thing now since 2015, 2014. Where Madrigal really, to our knowledge, can only play second base. I think that's probably the biggest knock. But, I mean, look at what he did yesterday. I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago. He had a couple of hits. He had an RBI. He's driving in Nico, who's at the bottom of the order. Like, there's I think, totally a chance where he's an X-Factor level guy where – because we sat here and complained as Cubs fans for years. Cody and I, we did this for years. They strike out too much. They do this. They strike out – you finally got a guy that's going to pretty much guaranteed to hit 300 unless he's
Herb Lawrence said you're going to like him. He's going to hit.
He's going to hit.
Now he's not going to run the bases smart.
That's okay.
Someone said that.
You just got to hit.
Yeah, someone said Nico can hit 300 in his sleep. We've talked about it, and we've kind of been under like the conversation of is he the leadoff man? And regardless of whether you say yes or no, I mean, like he's again his 92% contact rate since he debuted, which under whatever qualifications it is the best in the majors. His whiff rate's like 7.2. I don't have it off the top of my head. I could find it. His whiff rate's low. His whiff rate's insanely low. His strikeout rate's insanely low. Like he has the makings of even if he's not your leadoff guy, he's a bat you need to have in your lineup like every day because he's gonna put the bat, he's gonna put the bat on the ball, and when you put the bat on the ball, things happen. Errors happen, hits happen. Things are gonna happen. You put the ball in play. So. I think Nick Madrigal is an X Factor type player where he's
those two are like big, like they can be like their peak, or maybe not peak, but like they can really be the most productive if they're going gap to gap. You know what I mean? Like no one expects those guys to hit homers, but if those guys, if they both somehow give you 30 or more doubles this season, I'm not missing the homers because, like Ron said, we just for years we'd talk about the strikeouts and all this.
Don't
and
be
that.
a hypocrite.
Yeah.
This is what you asked for.
Give yourself a couple seasons of.
I understand that.
I
I understand that right now it looks like we have a lot of like contact first guys and not enough power, but at the same time, like, man, I do think it will be refreshing to not see as many strikeouts at least, and so it'll be interesting to see how we manufacture runs a lot.
We've got Brandon and Shane both on the chat. Talking about when Correa comes in here a year from now. He's gone already. Yeah, right. It wasn't more than a week has passed, and now we're already thinking about, well, this is how he still could end up in a Cubs uniform. Yeah. That's funny. Who else? Somebody was talking about the swagger or the pose for home runs. No, it was the batting stance. They said Nico's batting stance.
Brandon said Nico's stance
gives me anxiety. Gives me anxiety.
Yeah. I mean,
there are some. Remember Kevin Youkilis's violin stance? Like, how does he hit like that?
Oh yeah.
I think
Jeff
that's
Bagwell had a crazy.
Craig
stance.
Counsell has the most bizarre batting stance
real
ever.
weird.
I always like D. Lee's that just split legs, like just far apart. And
he was so big. I mean, he was like 6'5".
Anyway,
massive.
That's what I was gonna say. Should we talk about?
Let's PointsBet. Well, Cody's got that.
You want me to talk about PointsBet? Yeah. All right. Well, let me tell you about PointsBet. It's the best way to support CHGO. If you download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. If you do that right now, you get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000. But that is not it. If you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all of our web content. And you'll even get a free shirt of your choice from the CHGO locker. That's $2,000 in free bets, a free CHGO membership, and a free t-shirt from the CHGO locker, all for making more than a $50 first-time deposit at PointsBet. If you have any questions, you can email pointsbet@allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. Your home for live in-play betting just got even better. Introducing PointsBet's new feature, live college basketball same-game parlay. Oh, my God, I'm shaking. I can't stop thinking about Final Four this weekend. I'm so excited about
Kids
it.
that dribble basketballs.
Oh, yes. For the first time ever, you can build the perfect live same-game parlay only with PointsBet. Combine your favorite bets anytime during the game. Want more? You can also boost your live same-game parlays. Watch live, parlay live, and boost live with PointsBet. And now, also, online sign-up is available in Illinois. That's right, people. You can download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish all from your phone, from your house, wherever you're at. Luke can do it right now. Oh, wait, he already did it. I'm sorry that you lost Suns -4.
We're going to talk about that very shortly.
Plus, during PointsBet Match Madness, all users can earn up to $100 in free bets. During each round, just place a $50 pregame wager and get a free $20 live bet to be used for that round. So what are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Just make sure you're getting sound advice from the right people.
That was a brutal beat.
When it doesn't happen.
It was a brutal beat. You're 1-1.
I waited for 2 weeks for someone to give me a stone cold lock, as I said. I don't want advice. I don't want this is a maybe, this could happen. I need something that's a lock. Retirement's too close. I can't. AARP's sending me letters in the mail already. I need to know this is going to be beneficial for me, that I can multiply money. I put 10 hard-earned dollars down on the Suns 4.5 last night. Minus 4.5. Matt Peck told me we're riding this all the way to the bank.
I was on it too. That was my first point.
You got screwed on this too?
My first points bet.
You ain't got the answer, Sway. I've been doing this more than you.
That's right. Yeah, he's been doing it more, but let me tell you, I lost my $9.09 that I had gained and then some. So I'm very disappointed in you, young man.
Yeah.
That's all I'm going to say.
That was tough. And you
I wasn't going to talk to you today, but it was going to be a long podcast.
The worst part about it is he didn't even stay up to see what the final score is. He went to bed.
I knew.
And I saw his tweet, and I'm like, he's going to wake up tomorrow morning
Yeah.
disappointed, but he kind of deserves it.
I knew, too. I went to bed. I was like, lead after the first quarter. Oh, they're losing. Oh, third quarter, they're losing. Going to bed. I knew I was going to wake up and be like, but to see it at 4 points instead of 4.5
the worst part is to lose it by a half
was a
point.
real kick to the cojones.
Anyway, you know what?
So
isn't
anyway.
a kick to the cojones? Athletic Greens.
Yeah, well, it's what made me feel better. It made me forget about Cody's bad advice. It's our next partner. I do it every day when I wake up. AG1. I didn't have time, so I thought, you know what? This is something I should look into. I wanted better gut health, more energy, and optimized immune system. Now I've been on it for a month. I love it. It doesn't taste super healthy, which to me is a good thing. You know, it's sort of mild, tropical taste, and I look forward to taking it when I get up. 1 scoop of AG1, you're absorbing 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, whole food source superfoods, probiotics, and adaptogens to start your day right. It's a special blend of ingredients supporting your gut health, your nervous system, your immune system, your energy, recovery, focus, aging. It just can't help you beat the bad beats. I do notice I get a noticeable boost in the morning of energy. So it's the first thing I do. I wake up, I go over to my 8 ounces of water, dump in a scoop of the old AG1, and giddy up and go. There I am, ready to take on the day. It's lifestyle friendly, whether you're keto, paleo, vegan, gluten-free, or dairy-free, you're all good with AG1, and you're investing in all-in-one nutritional insurance for less than $3 a day. Who wouldn't invest in their health for less than $3 a day? You'd have to be crazy not to try it. I mean, that's $3 a day. You want to be healthy? It sounds like you'd be silly not to try it, and you would. It's recommended by professional athletes, more than 7,000 5-star reviews. I'm one of them, and right now it's time to reclaim your health. Arm your immune system with convenient daily nutrition. Just 1 scoop in a cup of water every day. That's it. No million different pills or supplements to look out for your health. And to make it easy, Athletic Greens is going to give you a free 1-year supply of immune-supporting vitamin D and 5 free travel packs with your first purchase. All you have to do is visit athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs. Again, athleticgreens.com/CHGO Cubs to take ownership over your health and pick up the ultimate daily nutritional insurance. I'm telling you guys, you got to do it. It's changed my life. 1 month.
Drink it in. It always goes down.
You know what changed my life, Luke?
Down into my
down the
belly.
drain.
What changed my life is when I was a kid, when I learned that Moises Alou pissed on his hands.
Oh yeah, moist hands.
Yeah,
Alu.
moist hands.
Moist
Lou.
hands.
Alu.
In the
Helps with the
comments,
calluses.
Yeah, they
in
were
the
talking about
comments,
the comments.
Joey Ricotta, good friend of me and Ron's, he says, as far as the batting stance thing, he says, Alu is, as long as you didn't pee on your hands like he did. Gary Sheffield's bat waggle was
I did
also
like
another
the
favorite.
waggle.
Those,
Gary Sheffield has
Sheffield's
a good
one,
one.
yeah, the Sheffield one.
That was probably the best one. A lot of kids tried that in like Little League and stuff and looked ridiculous trying it. For sure.
100%.
Everybody was like, I'm going to try that. Back in the day, this is way before your time, Joe Morgan, before he was annoying on television. Yeah, he had an annoying stance too. All right, so what are we today? Third base?
Third base.
We've been going around the field trying to see where the Cubs rank by position in the NL Central. And so far, we've sort of noticed that they probably average third, which is maybe why people are picking them third in division. So let's start at the bottom of the NL Central at third base. And, you know, he's one of the biggest names at this position, but it seems that his career is on the heavy downslide. Mike Moustakas batting .219 in his Reds career, and he's had injuries. So I feel a little strange putting him there just because he's had a successful major league career, but I don't think he's that guy anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he was hurt like all last year, and I remember covering some Reds games, and a lot of the pregame like questions were like, "Oh, how's Mike Moustakas doing? Is he gonna play ever again?" And it's just, but it was also like it didn't feel like the biggest news. Like Mike Moustakas playing for the Reds maybe helped, but like it wasn't like he was gonna move the needle. And obviously they didn't do much. They tried to win at the end of the year. They bought a couple pitchers. They bought a little bit, and I think Mike Moustakas came in towards the end of the year, but didn't like move the needle for them. So, yeah, I mean, like, he was a great player, but just like you said, kind of nearing the end. But it seems like at least
Is Mike Moustakas like the current day Moneyball, like David Justice on the A's for this like rebuilding Reds team? Like he kind of gives that feeling because like he kind of passed his best days, but like could still be okay if he had a good season. But I mean that 219 average isn't doing him any favors.
They're gonna, with the way they're running things, if he has any kind of good first half, they're gonna move him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's what he's on the roster for. Yeah. Play well, goodbye. Yeah, that's the way
go to a
go.
contender, go somewhere else, be somebody else's problem.
Let's put the Cubs at fourth here, and again, this is a spot where the Cubs could see them moving up. I mean, Wisdom and VR, 46 homers they combined for last year, which is sort of surprising when you think. I mean, obviously there's a lot of strikeouts with Patrick Wisdom in the second half of the season, but 46 homers combined for a position. I don't know if you're going to find too many teams that are better than that in the division, but I still think that's the spot to put him until you know what you're getting. Is it? Are we not giving him enough credit?
Well, it's tough because
28
like
and 18 for home runs.
We're
It's not
talking
bad.
about the Patrick Wisdom is interesting because it's like the strikeouts. He's 30. Like, is he like? Did he peak in those first 2 months and that's it? But I mean, he has the Cubs rookie record for home runs, and like I don't know, like me and Ron talked about it a lot when I was at Cubs on Tap. Like it was his first real opportunity to get everyday at bats. So I don't think that we've seen the peak of Patrick Wisdom, but I feel like he's on his way. At the very least, he's probably top three in terms of defensive third baseman, in my opinion. I think he's a solid defensive third baseman. It's the offense that you just don't know. Like if he can cut down the strikeouts and still hit the homers, then like I feel like that's pretty solid for someone like him.
You know what he reminds me of, and I don't know why because they're not really similar players, but Tyler Colvin was a guy that had 20 home runs in a season but never really developed into that guy, and it was like, is he really one of their best prospects? Is he not? He's got power. Like, I don't know. We'll see about Wisdom, and I do think VR is a good pickup because you can use him in a couple different places, and he's a proven major leaguer. So
and he steals bags. I feel like we're going to see bases go up with the bags getting a little bigger. I really do.
and moved in a little bit.
Yeah,
now.
and that's
If
a
they
guy.
ever think
wow,
of it.
I mean, I was just going to say, thank
think-
goodness they increased the bases size because I lose sleep over that every day. I'm like, wow, you know what this game needs is bigger bases.
Yeah, the bigger bases is like a major league thing, right? Is that in the majors?
Yeah, I think it's
I think
only
it is.
in
And
the
then I know like they're moving the bases in some level in the minors, and that's like I read into it. It's like that could be a thing going. Like I don't think it's a major league thing now, but it's well. But yeah, back to the point.
Experimenting, yeah.
More, yeah, that's an experiment. More steals, though, would be nice.
Next on, we have the Pirates and Ke'Bryan Hayes, who had a 2.4 WAR, but, defensively, he's about as good as they get. Like Nolan Arenado's had, I think, 9 straight Gold Gloves at third, and there are people that think he could finally stop that string this year. I guess the question is health and what will he do offensively?
Yeah, he's I honestly, like, I'm kind of jealous the Pirates have this guy because from what I've seen from him, he looks like a stud. Like, he's going to hurt the Cubs at some point if the Pirates ever get out of the dumpster fire that they're in. Or if not and they continue to suck, he's going to be the one player that does hurt the Cubs whenever they're blowing them out.
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Well, he'll inevitably be the one that they trade, right? I mean, they do with all their stars.
Maybe he'll be our next Aramis Ramirez on the north side.
That would be awesome.
Well, he
would be nice.
Pirates fans were just like, as miserable as that season was for the Pirates last year, was like the one thing that they would constantly ask about was like, well, when's Ke'Bryan Hayes going to be healthy? Because he got hurt early in the year, and then it was just like Ke'Bryan Hayes watch the entire year. Yeah, against the Cubs. The whole rest of the year was Ke'Bryan Hayes watch, and I mean, so he's hyped up enough that he should be. He's
shown really power. Good. Obviously, we're just talking about his defense. Like, he looks like a 5-tool guy. So
yeah.
So and then we go from there to the Brewers, and we have Urias there, but he is out for at least, we're reading reports that are like at least the first week of the season, the first few series. It's a quad injury. I mean, you never really know, but I mean, let's assume he's going to be healthy. 3.1 WAR and 23 homers last year. I think the Brewers would love that production again this season out of him if they can get it.
Absolutely. Well, and a shout out to Joey Ricotta in the comments too, because he's a big fantasy baseball guy. I mean, Urias was probably one of the players last season that took the greatest stride just in general. He kind of tinkered his swing a little bit. You saw the power come. I mean, he had high 70s RBIs, over 20 homers. I mean, I think he's a nice player, and he's one of those guys that, like, again, the Brewers do this. The Brewers are kind of, you and I have said this multiple times, they're like the Tampa Bay of the Midwest. Like, they'll get these guys from other teams that maybe don't work out quite as well, and somehow they make it work. And I think that's what makes them so annoying as a team. But, I mean, Urias had a great year last year, and I would expect him to build on that this year because they're going to need him to.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things for him was the move from shortstop to third base. Like, he moved over when they got Willy Adames. And so I look, Fangraphs has, when he was just 2021 at shortstop, -3 defensive runs saved. 2021 at third base, 6 defensive runs saved. That's a pretty solid difference, but just from shifting over a position. So I think that his defense was he struggled on defense a little bit maybe at shortstop, but then that move over to the hot corner just kind of helped him improve. So, like, obviously improve as a defender.
And you're getting, like, solid power out of him too. Yeah, 23 homers. I mean, that's pretty solid.
Yeah.
So,
especially in today's game, it's not everybody's hitting 60 home runs anymore in baseball. So,
yeah, right.
And then Arenado's obviously the class of the division at third base. And I don't want to bring this up, Cody, but, the Rockies gave him away for a bucket of balls.
A freaking washing machine, bro. And sent $50 fucking million. It's a goddamn shame. I will take this to my grave. If anything, it'll be on my tombstone. I can't get over it, Luke. Ron knows I can't get over it.
I just had the worst deja vu. I was going to say, I've heard that plenty of times too.
It is the exact kind of trade that I'm like, why can't the Cubs ever do anything like this? We knew that the Rockies were trying to unload Arenado because of whatever tension they had, and for some reason the Rockies just like to send all their star players to St. Louis. Arenado's not the first one. Larry Walker, Matt Holliday, just pisses me off.
I mean, they could have done the trade with the Cubs, and they could have still gotten KB out in Colorado.
That's right. That's right.
All would have been right in the world.
Cody
wouldn't be popping veins in his forehead when talking about the trade.
It just makes me upset, man.
It's just like, and it feels like one of those trades that, like, St. Louis does, and it always works out. Was like the Cubs have the money and the resources to do trades like that, and they don't. And you're kind of like, you're the third biggest market in the majors. Why didn't you go after Nolan Arenado at that point? I guess Chris Bryant was the third baseman, but I think at that point he was already proven that he could move around all over the field.
And you'd probably decided you weren't signing him at that point too.
Yeah. As Cap would have told us yesterday, like, they knew Chris Bryant was on the way out at that point.
Again, the thing that bothers me the most is that they sent $50 million with him to go there. They gave the Cardinals $50 million.
I mean, what the one pitcher? Gomber was the best return that they got out of that.
Austin
And he was
Gomber.
maybe a 4 in the St. Louis rotation that at that time wasn't all that great to
man.
begin with.
Crazy.
Well, it's one of the first cities where weed was made legal. So it would explain a little bit of their decision-making, potentially.
Well said, Luke.
Oh, Luke.
Isn't that
Luke-
the DMVR?
pointing
Luke
it out.
said,
Like,
"Stay off the
it
weed."
was the Mile High City before it was the Mile High City, you know?
That wasn't your best Stephen A. impression there, Ryan.
I told you we'll get it going.
Okay.
The Ryan A. Smith. That will make that a segment.
Ryan A. Smith.
I look forward to the Ryan A. Smith segment because his Stephen A. impression is really good. So
When I'm ranting, I can do a good Stephen A. Smith.
I'm ready for it. I'm ready for
Are you
it.
going to do the whole points bet rate as
This
Stephen
is
A.
exactly
Smith?
what I've been waiting for. This is exactly, I don't mean to sound like Cat Williams, but this is exactly what I've been waiting for.
I will not do the
Okay,
whole
yeah,
point,
just do it as yourself.
But I'll do it. Yeah, I'll do it. All right. So if you enjoy CHGO, one way to help us continue to grow is to download the PointsBet app and use code CHGO when you sign up. Not only are you going to get 2 risk-free bets up to $2,000, but if you make a $50 or more first-time deposit, you'll receive a free CHGO membership, which unlocks all our web content. So you get to read me, and you'll even get a free. There it is. Look at that front page,
Yep.
top of the front page right there. There
Y'all
we go.
know me.
And you'll even get a free shirt of your. You'll get a free shirt of your choice in the CHGO locker #dope merch. If you have any questions, email PointsBet and at allchgo.com, and we'll help you out. And in case you missed it, online sign up is available in Illinois. You can actually download the PointsBet app right now and register your account from start to finish, all from your phone. You'll be signing up with the fastest sportsbook, easier than ever, so you can start living your best life in seconds. What are you waiting for? Once the game starts, don't just bet. Live your bet life with PointsBet. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
shout out to Scott Crawford in the comments. He says Cody likes St. Louis style pizza more than the Arenado trade. That might be the one time that I would say that. Yes.
Oh, wow.
I'm very disgusted by the Arenado trade. It affects my life more than St. Louis style pizza.
That's fair.
CHGO, we're almost a month old, right?
Yes. What we
Is tomorrow a month
got?
old?
The fourth?
No,
The fourth.
Yeah.
I guess
Tomorrow's
weeks.
4 weeks, but yeah, it's like
Yeah.
another 5 days.
Yeah, so if you're just checking us out for the first time, we're podcasting live shows every day, every team. Post-game shows coming up starting Thursday. We'll be doing Cubs post-game shows after every game, premium written content. This guy, allchgo.com. The dope merch for all the teams, the free shirt when you become a member, and the members-only Discord, the CHGO Lounge. It doesn't look like the velour robes, smoking robes, are going to come in time for opening day, but we're still trying to get those on order from the guys in Denver, hopefully. So we'll see.
Can't wait.
Did you see Brennan Davis, by the way, is now officially going to be AAA? I mean, we knew he was going to start in the minors, but
Yeah.
AAA is the spot.
Yeah,
It's not surprising at all.
It's not surprising. I think I tweeted this the other night. I'm interested to see how many at-bats they want him to get in AAA. And I know, Ryan, you've been a Debbie Downer about it. You think he's not going to be here until after the All-Star
Being
break.
realistic here.
But, you're being realistic, whatever. We're not here for realistic. We're here for hot takes and just optimism. I'm just interested to see how many at-bats they would like him to get. Like, if he's mashing and someone gets hurt, or if he's mashing and no one's performing, I don't know. I feel like he's going to be worthy of a call-up. So
I've also been saying that there are plenty of variables that could result in a pre-All-Star break Brennan Davis call-up. For sure. Injuries. Him hitting 500 in AAA. They're like, why is he still facing minor league pitching? Yes, there's plenty of variables, but just like the way baseball goes, All-Star break, probably about All-Star break or, trade deadline. In that like 3 weeks between trade deadline and All-Star break, sure, he's probably going to be up because if they're selling, then it's probably a few guys that are gone out the door. But I can't see before the All-Star break. It just like as baseball goes without any outside variables affecting it.
I was gonna say I think personally it's probably like the earliest is probably like early to mid-May, because I think they really want to see what they have of these other guys, like because they kind of know what they have with Brennan Davis. He's your top prospect. He's top 15 in baseball. Like, you know what you're getting with the kid. It's more of the Clint Fraziers of the world, arguably the Ian Happs of the world. Can he do what he did at the end of last season? I think they want to give so many of these the Hermosios of the world. Like, give these guys just enough playing time and enough at-bats to make a meaningful decision on them. And then once they kind of weed through who's going to be here and who's not, then I think that's when you – and then obviously, if Brennan goes down and he's just absolutely mashing through the month of, April and into
which
May.
is certainly possible.
Oh yeah, absolutely possible. It'll be interesting, but yeah, I think it'll be a while just because they need to figure out what they have with the guys that are already on the major league roster.
I'll go with the optimist. He will be up. Brennan Davis will be in Chicago in 2022. He will be up this season.
He'll be in Chicago.
Cubs
convention.
He will be playing for the Cubs in 2022. When that is anyone's guess, but he will play for the Cubs in 2022.
Do the Iowa Cubs play in Chicago?
Right, one of those.
They're making a weird trip to the King County Cougars.
If he's down there too long, we're going to have to make a trip to Iowa and do a show.
I agree.
Right? I mean,
there's going to be a ton of talent in South Bend, too. I feel like we should go there as
South
well.
Bend's going to have a ton of talent. Myrtle Beach is worth a trip, too. They're going to have all the super kids. Casey's down there.
Pelicans.
Cresciato's down there. Howard's down there. Triantos is going to be down there. I think James Triantos
Who
is
the Smokies
unreal.
got? Who the Smokies? Smokies got Caleb. Caleb Killian is going to be in Tennessee.
They do.
So
for how long?
Yeah, right.
And
He's in Iowa. He's in Iowa by May.
Our guy Mike Dubbs says, be on the lookout for my running of the W flag opening day when the Cubs win. So he's a W flag.
Last year, he would post every time the Cubs win. He would post this video that he had his wife take of him at the beginning of the year, and he's just in an obvious shirt running down his street with like the W flag on a pole
On
or
a
whatever.
flagpole, yeah.
On a flagpole.
I've gotten word of what this video is going to be because we actually just had Dubbs as a guest on the show 2 weeks ago, and I don't want to spoil it for him, but it's a good one. I'm jealous of him. Let's just put it that way.
I keep looking at the chat to see if my mom's going to pop on there. I don't think she knows how to do it after Cody's profane tirade recently on the show. I'm waiting for my mother to scold him, but I don't believe she knows how to log on and do that. So we'll just see if that happens.
I think Dubbs scolded him at one point.
Yeah, I saw
Said
that.
even
I saw
the hard ing.
hard
Sorry
ING.
to Luke's mom.
And during Lent of all times.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah, right.
Terrible.
That's right. Easter is on the horizon. too.
real close, Cody. So I saw the division trade you were talking about. Not a division trade, but we thought Padres, Pirates, and the first thing that popped into our minds was, well, if they make a trade, the Pirates make a trade with the Padres, would the targets the Cubs are looking at for Wilson Contreras potentially be taken? That's what pops into your mind for every trade now, whether you see the Yankees or the Padres or anybody else. How does this affect the Cubs? I don't think it does.
I don't think it affects the Cubs at all. I mean, they're in talks for Brian Reynolds, he is one of the few nice players on the Pirates, but he isn't going to cost, Abrams or any of those top prospects
which is what you'd want for Wilson Contreras.
Yeah.
Camposano.
And we would take, again, I'm still very intrigued by, taking that Eric Hosmer contract or Will Myers. Very intrigued. I feel like that would be a huge deal for the Cubs in the long term, for sure.
Just play him and rotate him with Schwindel.
Yeah, I mean, arguably could. I mean, I think the Cubs could approach the Padres and say, hey, look, you really want Willie. We'll take Hosmer's contract, but you have to give us either Campusano, who's their top catching prospect, who's pretty close to MLB ready, or take maybe even another bad contract. I don't know if they'd be able to take both Myers and Hosmer, but maybe another contract somewhere that takes a little bit of money in addition to Hosmer. I mean, I think they'd
be able to take them both because Myers, I believe, is a free agent after next season or this season. It's one of the two. So, and I mean, we'd have to hold on to Hosmer for 3 more years, and he'll make. I think he's average annual value for the next 3 years after this each year is $13 million. So it's like, it's not.
We've held on to J.
Hosmer's contract's insane.
I love how we go from, and this is every day, we go from saying, I want this guy, I want Correa now because they can compete now, to 5 minutes later we're talking about how they can restock the farm system if they trade Wilson Contreras.
Well, that's the thing, though.
It's like you go back and forth.
That's the thing, though.
Contract too.
The good
Send
teams
me
are able
Hosmer.
to do both, man. Like what the Dodgers do, with all the talent they have already on the team on top of their farm system. I mean, I don't. In a way, it is kind of funny, but at the same time, it's like the Cubs, they need to be able to do both, and I do feel optimistic about being that in the next 5 years, I guess. So
This has been fun. Ron, you going to come back and do this again?
I would love to. It's been a blast. I'm glad you guys had me on. I appreciate it. Thank you.
There we go.
To all you guys.
Yeah.
At Luce on Tap.
That's correct.
At Luce on Tap.
Soon
on
starting
Twitter.
at Luke on Tap. No, I'm not going to do it.
It's going to be Luke's alter ego on Twitter.
He's going to start a burner.
burner.
He's going to create a burner so he can yell at me every time I give him a losing bet.
Oh, man. Before we get the negativity into this podcast, let's just stop talking about that. Ron, thanks for coming on. We hope you do it again sometime soon.
Thank you for having me.
And have fun at opening day.
Appreciate it.
Stay warm out there.
I'm going to do my best. I might need to turn to our old friends at our old buddies Miller Old Style in order to help with a little bit of extra warmth.
Stay warm.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
Thanks for listening to the CHGO Cubs podcast presented by PointsBet. We'll be back tomorrow. Corey's going to be in the house, and we'll have another great panel going for you. Until then, fly the W.